Welcome to the best outdoors program just off the shores of the mighty Red River. It's the Hooking Up and Tracking Down Show, the heart and soul of all things related to God's great outdoors. Starring Gary McCoy, an all-around outdoorsman with a CMA Award for Best Personality in Radio. A man who excels in the radio world and needs no introduction to the outdoors, whether standing tall in the winter circle or sitting low in the deer stand. Mike Eccles, the boss, tournament trail director, and outstanding duck hunting guide with a wealth of outdoors knowledge who's not afraid to give his opinion with or without the facts. His years of bass tournament experience ensures that rules are followed and anglers are kept in check. And last but not least, Daiwa and Ranger Pro Steve Graff, a member of the Northwestern State University Hall of Fame with years of bass tournament experience who continues his pursuit of a double-digit bass and championship stringers. So let's jump on the front deck and make that first cast with the legendary minds of the great outdoors. Gary McCoy, Mike Eccles, and the one and only Steve Graff. Take it away, guys.
You are hooking up and tracking down 11:30 The Tiger. It's Gary McCoy along with the old Ranger Daiwa Pro Staffer.
Yo.
He is Steve Graff, and the old mud hen Mike Eccles is here. Of course, he's in there pushing he's wearing his Mudbugs jersey again.
That's right. Got two big games this weekend.
Hey, you know, they're doing a cool thing Friday and Saturday. They have invited the public out to come stand.
Oh, I heard that, yeah.
To come stand in the middle of the ice. Scott just invited me. Of course, I'm judging hamburgers for Brew Bash.
Yeah, well,
Friday
priorities,
night.
yeah.
And then my son Buddy is having his engagement party Saturday night. So I can't go, but Scott invited me. He says, we're inviting all of the public to come here, stand in the middle of the ice with your hand over your heart, and pledge allegiance to the flag and sing the national anthem.
Along with all of the fire departments, police.
It's the what do they call it?
Guns and hoses.
Guns and hoses for the fire department and the and the policemen. Isn't that awesome?
It's going to be a great weekend.
You know, the last place I would, and I would never do it, but the last place I would want to be disrespectful to my country or the flag would be in front of a bunch of hockey players holding sticks.
Exactly.
In a crowd of cops and firemen.
Yeah.
That'd be a terrible place to make that.
Won't you butt whipped?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Show up that night.
Hey, this part of our show is brought to you by Steve Nichols and Specialty Treco, also Despino, Jim South Tire, and the Landing Restaurant of Natchitoches, Louisiana. Wonder Duck. Have you played with yours?
Not yet. We're going to be giving two away next week now.
Really?
On Facebook.
Okay.
So make sure, because we've been doing a lot of giveaways.
Yeah.
So make sure next week you check out our Facebook page.
You know, I've been playing with mine, and I've discovered that
That's what Julie said.
I knew that was
You're so easy.
Yeah, you set yourself up for that one.
we had it in the swimming pool. And
That's even better. This gets good.
And you'd be amazed at you'd be amazed at the wonders of the Wonder Duck. Yeah. That sucker, you know, it's amazing. You were showing me you can adjust the feet on it and get it. Like if you turn those suckers just right, it'll sling water 1.5 feet high.
Oh, really?
Which can be too much.
Okay.
You know,
it can be too active.
Absolutely, especially if you've got if you got any kind of wind. I mean, if you got no wind at all.
Yeah.
And it's just dead calm. You don't want that much water movement.
You know what? You just said something that I've always believed about fishing. I had a guy a long time ago told me, he says, when you're fishing topwaters, you want to match the environment. If the wind's blowing really hard, then you want something like a big old popar or some chugger or something.
Bait.
You know, boy, you want to snatch it. I mean, you want to throw a lot of water. Right. But when it's still and, you know, not much wind, maybe some clouds, some low barometric pressure, you know, then you want to fish something that's kind of silent on the top.
Subtle.
You know? Exactly.
Yeah.
And to sum it up, really, the environment dictates the mood of game and fish.
I believe
to
that.
a degree.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
They're kind of as far as being aware of their surroundings. There's probably they make a living at it.
Oh yeah. And a good example on when to throw like the ribbit. The ribbit is if you got a lot of wave action, throw the ribbit.
Yeah.
But if you've got very little slick water, you want the horny toad. Has very little leg action, totally different look.
Yeah.
And makes a difference.
But imagine this. Back to what we're supposed to be talking about.
Yeah.
the wonder duck. I mean, tell us what you found. You had yours on
It was crazy because, I made some modifications to it like you had said to do, a couple of little things, that you've been playing around with yours. And, he said that too. Any rate.
but not in front of you.
You put it in the swimming pool and you can see everything. You can see where it's going, you see what it's doing, you see how the feet are going. And I was impressed. And now that you mentioned, matching that environment, then I can see how that would be important too. Right. You don't want to be as aggressive if it's not as
calm.
Now, tell
water.
me, in your duck hunting experience, when the wind's howling like that, and it's 25 miles an hour.
You talking me or Mike? Mike. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mike. I'll defer to Mike.
when it's howling like that, do you need a whole lot of activity to be able, or are they just flying anyway?
If it's clear skies, and you have a 15-mile-an-hour wind, you can kill ducks over Coke bottles.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't matter.
Yeah. Wind is that important?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely.
Huh. Now, what about, those foggy kind of mornings? Or, does that thing help bring them in through sound or anything?
Sound, yes.
Okay.
And ducks, I mean, ducks can hear really, really well.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't think that sound doesn't really travel far, I mean, I can't hear them anymore, but guys that can hear like they're supposed to, you can hear ducks in the air way before you see them. You can hear them chattering, and you hear a pintail whistle. So if you can hear them 400 or 500 yards away, imagine what they hear. You stand in the blind BSing and laughing and cutting up or hollering at your dog.
Yeah.
So
now, one thing I've
can they hear the egg in the frying pan?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they don't. It doesn't stay in there long. They might hear me smacking.
Question I've got, and I've always wondered this, like what little I have done. I've done a little bit of goose hunting as well. Hunt some geese out in West Texas. You want cloudy, nasty weather for goose hunting. Mm-hmm. Ducks, you want the clear sky. They decoy better. Well, the geese don't decoy better. They decoy better when it's really cloudy, snowy.
That probably has to do with most of your goose hunting is done on land, dry fields and stuff.
Yeah.
Duck hunting is done over water. When you have clear skies, there's such a reflection off the water, the ducks can't see detail. They can't see. All they can see is kind of movement. They can see the decoys, but they don't pick up you. They don't pick up your face in the blind, you moving, the dog moving, discrepancies in the decoys. All they can see with that glare is the shape of something down there, and the wind's blowing, so it's moving. That's ideal conditions. And you don't need the wonder duck. You don't need anything if you got clear skies and wind blowing. However,
you don't have that many of those days.
Those days
you're talking about winter
4 or 5 times a year if you hunt every day that you have those conditions. The wonder duck is something that works on the majority of your standard hunting days when you don't have the wind.
Speaking of our sponsors, I want to also bring up Bellevue Meat Processing. Ran into Chris and Carla Nesbitt the other day, and they were showing me a picture that's on their Facebook page. Young girl, I think it was Ariel. I think that was her name, Ariel. I don't recall the last name. Her first deer ever happened to be a bow kill, but it was her first deer of any form. Big old 9-point with a drop time.
Oh, really?
I've never even seen a drop time to shoot at.
Yeah, really.
And that's her first deer, but they're getting ready. They've obviously been open and taking a bunch of deer during archery season. But this weekend, Saturday, starts the youth military a deer hunting week. And one of the things that I checked on for military, if you were honorably discharged and you served a minimum of 6 years, it's either 6 or 7 years. You got to be able to substantiate that, but you can also enjoy the same hunting privileges beginning this Saturday and extending through the following Friday. You can do that. But if you're a youth, 17 years of age and younger here in Area 2, if you've already passed the hunter safety program, then you can hunt by yourself, but you have to be within visual and audio distance from another licensed hunter that would be your guardian. And they've got the coolest thing, because if you take them a deer and you're one of those youths, they're going to give you one of those free Bellevue Meat Processing T-shirts.
And they are cool.
Oh, man, the kids get them every year.
Yeah, I wonder how many youth actually bring deer in.
Oh, it's Chris told me it's staggering.
Really? I would like to know the
But he said,
number.
because it's kids, he said a lot of times it's not the big mammoth bucks that you'll start seeing in the next week with primitive weapons and stuff
I think this might be something we want to be involved in.
But just, yeah. I mean, it would be kind of cool to do maybe a co-op thing with hooking up and tracking down in Bellevue on those T-shirts.
I was thinking that or a cap.
Oh, yeah. Throw in a hat.
That's why I was wondering, how many kids are we talking here? Are we talking 24?
I'll bet you it's more like 200 or 300.
Oh, you think it's that many?
Oh, I would bet you.
Oh my God!
But they do an awesome
Never
job.
mind, we'll give them keychain.
Y'all get a ballpoint pen. But they're going to be open their regular hours for the remainder of the season starting this Saturday. And anything that you might want to know about Bellevue Meat Processing is going to be on their Facebook page. One of the cool things that Carla told me, though, we are going to be broadcasting live from there during Primitive Weapons Week. It's going to be just a few days before the regular gun season opens. We're going to be there October the 25th.
Yep.
Broadcasting our entire show live there at Bellevue Meat Processing. And Carla said they've got some brand new sausage that's going to be new for this year that they are not doing for anybody yet. They will introduce that brand new sausage on the Hooking Up and Tracking Down show that day on the 25th.
They're actually not ready to do it yet.
Well, I was trying to hog all the glory, Mike.
I know, but I mean, I don't want anybody to think they can go in there and say, "Hey, I want it done." They're not ready to put it out, and that's when they'll be ready. So,
now, are we doing the 18th or 25th? We had it down as the 18th, which is next week.
I thought it was 25th, right before, because gun season starts on the 28th.
Well, the reason why we got November 1st, we're at Davis Clothing and Outdoor, and we decided we didn't want to go 2 weeks out in a row.
Yeah.
So we moved it to the 18th.
Yeah,
that's next week.
Okay.
So it doesn't matter if we got it wrong, as long as they know when we're going to be there.
But if we need to change that, we can change it. If that's what they want to roll it out on that day, then we'll just wait and go.
Well, we'll huddle up.
Yeah, we'll get together
off the air,
and we'll talk to Carla and see
find out.
what she wants to do.
Okay. All right. Long and short, it is going to be time to start getting those deer there into Bellevue.
And their hours, which you did mention, but you didn't say what time. 8 a.m. till 9 p.m. are their new hours.
Right, exactly.
7 days a week.
Yeah.
So, that's a lot of work,
Chris
dude.
put a little apartment up there.
Oh,
I mean, because he
I'm
has
serious.
He put a little apartment in the top of Bellevue just so that on occasion he can go up there and lay down, take a nap. And because he says there's times, like opening weekend on the 28th,
I bet it's a madhouse.
He'll be cleaning deer from start to finish. I mean, I'm talking about that whole weekend. He probably will not lay down.
Yeah.
I mean, he'll be cleaning deer from the time they open at 8 o'clock in the morning through the night into Sunday, all day Sunday, and through Sunday night and into Monday morning.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I want to congratulate a friend of mine, mine's son, Nick Cannella. He's the guy. He killed this past weekend, a really nice 8-point. I think down south of Shreveport someplace with his bow. And they sent me a picture of it, and they listen to the radio show a lot. But Nick, as far as I know, Nick Cannella's killed the biggest buck that I've seen so far, killed with a bow.
Really? Mm-hmm. Do you know the score?
15-0, I guess. What are you talking about?
The score of the deer.
No, it was just a really nice 8-point, probably 17, 18 inches wide, but big body deer.
Okay, on the show this week, I got to mention a couple of things. Here in just a few, Davis Clothing and Outdoors hunting tip. This week, it's on Dr. James Kroll and Pat Hogan as they discuss the impact of wind on deer behavior. We were just talking about wind.
That's right.
Influencing ducks' behavior. It does deer as well. Chad Potts is going to be on, the president of Bass Champs. They are getting ready for this week's championship on the Red River. Speaking of that, a little bit later in the show, we got a couple of local boys. Mark Price of Team Elshout and Price is going to be on. He's fishing in that championship. He'll kind of
I beat him one time. Last time on the river.
That must have been the one time he couldn't be there. He just paid his entry.
Were his hemorrhoids acting up? He couldn't fish all day?
I think he got called off the water for some reason. But anyway.
Yeah.
Hey,
we also got Mark Chris Friday with the early rut report coming up.
Exactly.
Yep. And also, real quick, Tom Moorhead, if you think the fishing isn't great at Sam Rayburn, Tom Moorhead and Jason Moorhead won first place the Keith Combs Challenge with 28.76. William Forney, James Chumley finished second with 28.32. Guys, to make the top 18, it took over 20 pounds to make the top 18.
Wow.
It's insane.
Wow.
Sam Raven's where it's at, I'm telling you.
Wow. We are hooking up and tracking down. 11:30, the Tiger.
All right, this segment of Hooking Up and Tracking Down is presented by Daiwa Rods and Reels, J&J Exterminating, V&M Baits, Paul's Farm and Garden, and Silver Star Smokehouse, now serving the best barbecue in 3 great locations: Shreveport, Bossier, and Texarkana, Texas.
So we're going to use that? Hello. We are hooking up and tracking down. 11:30, the Tiger. It's Gary McCoy, the moron, and the butthead.
Yeah. And we've got a little Mustang Survival here. The best personal flotation device is the one you wear, folks. Make sure, that's why Mustang Survival wants you to choose a PFD that fits comfortably and is made for whatever water sport activity you're engaged in. From foam vests and automatic inflatable PFDs to float coats and do you have a float coat, Mike? A float coat. I don't have a float coat.
Float coat is what plasters do.
Yeah, okay. That's true.
Yeah.
They offer a complete range of products to meet your marine and outdoor activity needs. To see the entire line of Mustang products, go to MustangSurvival.com. Mustang Survival, trusted, proven, and dependable. And all three of us, I mean, I'm telling you right now, guys, the gloves the fishing gloves that I've been wearing from Mustang that we got from absolutely love those. Those are a great pair of gloves. And but anyway, hopefully our rain suits will be in pretty quick too.
I hope so.
Yeah,
because
before duck season's over.
Yeah, before it's over.
A little bit later on the show, we were discussing this a minute ago. Mark Price is going to be on, and Common Bass Fishing Ailments by Don Worth of Bassmaster Magazine.
We're going to do a series of these.
Are you really?
Hey, they are awesome too.
No, wait a minute. But I mean, it's
the first one.
Okay,
we've all been there.
I just want to tell you that if you have not yet finished your lunch, get it done. Get it done by 12:30. Okay,
or wait an hour afterwards.
Yeah, I'm warning you right now. Get her done.
Speaking of that, I saw a gallon jug sitting on your desk a while ago. So I figure you're either going to have another colonoscopy or you're back on a diet.
I'm back on a diet.
Okay, got to drink a gallon of water a day.
Drink a gallon of water every day. It's the best thing in the world for your hydration.
It really is.
But
I don't drink enough water.
I got to pee right now.
Yeah, I don't drink enough water.
Let her rip, Tater Chip.
If you
Are we anywhere close to this, Jay? Is it close to loading up?
I'm working on it, boys.
Okay.
You want me to load it? I got it ready here.
We're gonna get this for you.
Now we have passed the tin can, two tin cans and a string in our radio show. We're not doing that.
Okay, all right.
All right. Well, hopefully here in a minute we'll have Davis Clothing and Outdoors, the hunting tip for this week. It's Dr. James Kroll, Pat Hogan, discussing the impact of wind on deer behavior. Speaking of wind and deer,
so we have Chris
Friday on the phone.
Speaking of deer breaking wind.
Yeah, I'm here.
Let's do
Chris,
that.
you ever heard of deer break wind?
Have I ever heard of deer break wind?
Yeah, you ever heard of deer break wind?
I've heard a lot of things in the woods, but I don't guess I've heard one break wind.
I was with him last week. I heard Chris Friday break wind. We were in a 4-wheeler together.
Chris Friday with the Louisiana Rut Report, and we've got an early field rut report, and apparently some hog problems.
Guaranteed, there's hog problems. Like I told you last year, if you don't have hog problems, you will, and apparently that came to fruition over the last year. But we've seen an explosion in the numbers here in Northwest Louisiana, and from what I'm getting feedback from, it's all over.
Chris, you think a lot of the flood problems we had, all the moisture we had in the spring, has anything to do with an explosion of population of the pigs?
I don't think so, no, sir. I think it's just elementary math. When you put 2 and 2 together, you get 4. When you put 4 and 4 together, you get 8.
Yeah.
When you get 8 and 8 together, you get 16.
Okay, stop. You're getting out of my range now.
That's right.
It all comes down to pig sex is the reason for the explosion. That's it.
There you go.
That's it.
When you get 800,000, which is an estimate from the Wildlife and Fisheries, when you get over 800,000 in the state and they double, you get 1,000,006. Well, 800,000 jump in the population, all of a sudden it gets noticed.
Well, Chris, in your estimation, what do you do on your leases that you've got to help control your hogs? Is there anything you do specific? Do you trap? Do you shoot? What are you doing?
Yes, sir. We shoot them. We're tied to close the distance and elusive wildlife, and so we've got to film a lot of hunts. So we shoot them at night with our bow and arrow, and we trap also. But it's gotten to the point now to where it's just not realistic to even think that we could control the numbers through hunting and trapping, unless you go to a system. And I was on the phone with Sergeant Latour with the Wildlife and Fisheries and the Feral Hog Task Force a week or so ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, and they want me to come down and meet with them on ideas on what we can do. But I told them they're going to have to come with something better than just a few pig traps and allowing them to night hunt, because there's no way you can curb these numbers.
No,
Chris, I've got 2 questions for you. This came up and I couldn't answer it the other day. You can hunt pigs at night with a gun. Do you have to stop doing that during deer season, or can you legally hunt with a gun at night for pigs during the
year round?
You can from March 1st till September 1st.
Yeah.
You can hunt. It's kind of no holds bars. You can hunt at night with a gun, with a bow, whatever the case may be. Now your law still applies, so you can't be on a public road shining a spotlight, hitting houses. In most cases, it would be a good gesture to give Wildlife and Fisheries a call and let them know what you're doing, and also it's common courtesy to let the folks in the area know what you're doing.
Yeah, that's true.
But you can't do it now during now that gun season's open. You can't hunt at night.
It's not open to the Wild West.
Okay.
You can do it, however, with a very simple process called an outlaw quadrupede permit, and that's obtained through the Wildlife and Fisheries website. Melissa McCowan, I think, is the lady's name that lists you the permit. And what it takes is written consent from the landowner. If you got a hunting lease, it takes written consent, letting them know that you're going to be hunting at night with an outlaw quadrupede permit. There's a little bit more stipulations during that time of the year, and what you have to do is you have to notify Wildlife and Fisheries and let them know where you're going to be, what you're going to be doing, who you're going to be doing it with, and what the time frame is.
Okay. Chris, are there guys for hire out there that
you bet there
will come out there and do this?
Yeah.
You talking about guys for hire that'll come out and hunt them?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Well, there are, but I think the answer is going to be with contract trappers and bringing them in and finding a way to fund a program.
Well, let me tell you, trying to shoot or trap wild hogs now is I compare the wild hog problem to the Salvinia. I told somebody getting rid of that's like trying to go down Lake Vistano and clean it out with a dip net. You're just peeing in the wind.
Yeah.
Right.
Here's what they've got to do with the Salvinia. It's amazing I'm this smart.
Yeah,
and
that's why you're on this program.
And the hogs. Stop trying to eliminate them right now. You've got to work on the reproduction.
Yeah.
That's what they've got. They've got to come up with something that can spray on Salvinia that will spread like a virus that will stop it from reproducing.
Right.
Right.
Same thing with the hogs. Once you stop them from reproducing,
then you attack
then
what
you
you've
can
got.
start eliminating the population. But until then, it's impossible. They've got to come up with something that we can put on corn or something and put out that will only make pigs sterile.
Right.
Now, that may be impossible.
Yeah.
But
But that's the answer.
That's it.
Yeah.
So you take that down there and you'll be a star.
Okay.
When you
You
go
know
to
what?
meeting.
You know, I've talked to him in depth a couple of different times. Our last conversation, he asked me, he said, well, if you put a program together, how are you going to fund it? I asked him, do the research. How much money did the state spend last year in crop damage? That number was $740 million. I told him, I guarantee you, if you give me $50 million of that to launch in a project, I mean, it's guaranteed they're already going to spend more than $740 this year, because the amount of hogs that have hit the face of North Louisiana from last year to this year is a significant number, significant increase.
Mm-hmm.
So the insurance companies are the ones to benefit by putting a program together where you could come in and put some contract trappers in place. They've got some great trap systems. The Boar Buster trap system, the Jaeger Pro trap system. I mean, those are great trap systems, but they're expensive and it's costly to run. So you're going to have to make it worth somebody's time.
I would pay an extra $5 on my license to go towards controlling hogs, if that's what it takes.
You know, I didn't think about that, but like I said, they can find the money if they want to drive a program. Like I said, I was startled by the $740 million number that was spent last year for crop damage, and that's associated with the damage caused by the pigs.
Yeah.
All right.
Vehicle accidents are going to be another thing you're going to see on the rise. I don't know if you guys paid attention, but in between Mansfield and Shreveport, whether you're going I-49, 175, 171, whatever the case may be, you're starting to see hogs dead on the side of the road. And if they don't do something pretty quick, there's going to be a lot of vehicle collisions associated with that. Now, a hog will do a lot more damage than an armadillo will, I can assure you.
Yeah.
All right, I want to make a quick seg because you are with the Louisiana Rut Report there on Facebook, and I noticed this on Facebook the other day. A lot of people are starting to report that they're still seeing pregnant does this time of the year. What causes that, Chris?
Poor buck-to-doe ratio.
Yeah.
Poor buck-to-doe ratio, so the does didn't conceive during November, during the primary rut, so they went to December, and then the does didn't have enough bucks to cover them during December. So we see the rut in North Louisiana. We see the rut go all the way into our breeding activity, go all the way into March, sometimes April. Year before last, or it may have been 3 years ago, I'm not certain, but what I can tell you is during November, I was in a rifle stand and had a little spindly-legged doe come out, a little spindly-legged fawn come out that couldn't have been over 3 weeks old. So that's the only reasoning for it is just there's not enough bucks to cover the doe population that we have. The buck-to-doe ratio is so skewed right now that it's in a bad situation.
Well,
The herd is unhealthy.
How do you attack that? Do you lessen the amount of bucks that we can take, or do you increase the amount of does that we're taking?
That's a matter of opinion. You can do one of the two. My opinion would be lessen the number of bucks that you take. You know, I don't think we've got a population problem, or everybody would be reporting being able to see, you know, good numbers of deer on most occasions. You know, so I don't think we have a population issue, and I think we have the habitat to support it. I think the answer is going to lie in two things: decreasing the number of bucks that's being taken off the ground to try to get the numbers back toward a realistic number, and then you're going to have somebody monitor it. The tag system, I don't know how well they're monitoring that tag system. So if you got a system in place and you're not monitoring,
Clip's ready if you guys want to go out with it.
Well, I think you need to do. I think you're right, Chris. But I think you need to do both. You cut down. Who really needs to kill 4 bucks?
Well, you can't kill 4 bucks.
Okay, how many?
You can kill 3.
3.
Whoops.
He doesn't hold on for himself.
I haven't shot.
Nobody needs to kill 4.
Yeah, okay. And thank you for saying that, Steve. Graf. No, really. I mean, if you're gonna kill four deer in a season,
well, you can kill 6.
Okay.
You can kill 4 does.
I didn't realize they had so many rules to this.
Yeah, it ain't like duck hunting. You just drop.
Really, y'all, if you want 4 deer, kill 2 bucks, and then don't kill. I know guys that'll kill 3 bucks and they'll kill 6 points. Just say they killed a buck.
Yeah, exactly.
You kill 2 bucks, kill 2 does. That's enough.
But you know what? I also want to stand in defense of the guy who sees a deer, perceives it to be a really good deer, pulls the trigger and goes down there, and it's not the deer that they thought
he perceives it to be a good deer because he doesn't take long enough to look at it.
Well, sure.
He's not used to having to do that.
Yeah, sure.
That's right.
And I understand that.
Sure.
Chris Friday, thank you, brother. What do you think? Give us a rating on the year so far. Looking good?
Not as good as I've seen in the past. No, sir, not for me or any of the reports taking place. But hey, there's always hope.
Hey, man. Well, you know what? We got to have you back several times during the season.
Oh, yeah.
I hope you'll be ready for us.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Chris.
Friday. Louisiana Rut Report there on Facebook. Are we playing the clip now, or are we waiting?
We can wait and find a place for it, you know?
Yeah, if not, we'll catch it next
The
week.
good news is we got it, you know?
Yeah, finally.
Silver lining.
Yeah, we are hooking up and tracking down. 11:30, the Tiger.
From the country, and we like it that way.
All right, the Hook It Up and Tracking Down show thanks you for tuning us in today. This segment presented by Cypress Knee Outdoors, Nichols Department Stores, and Bellevue Meat Processing, offering a variety of Louisiana-made products like Mayhaw jelly, barbecue sauce, and seasonings. Here's Steve, Gary, and Mike.
Hey, if you've not been to Davis Clothing and Outdoor, you have completely missed the boat, my friend. BJ and Lee Davis have taken outdoor apparel to another level with an awesome selection of outerwear for the hunter, the fisherman, the golfer, and the working man. Brands like Drake, Hook, Cutter and Buck to Dickies. Davis Clothing and Outdoor has it all, so go see their awesome staff and make sure to check out the entire selection of guns and ammo. They also have cough drops. Go to davisclothingandoutdoor.com to learn more.
Please.
Davis Clothing and Outdoor, taking the outdoor apparel to another level.
I'm on new medicine this week.
Dude, let me tell you what, this stuff's bad. I don't ever get the cough.
Me neither.
I never
get sick.
I mean, I can't remember the last time I missed a day because I was sick.
Me either.
And I'm thinking to myself, holy crap, this stuff, whatever's in the air this year is bad.
Mine's bronchitis, and according to my doctor, I'm non-contagious.
Well, thank you for bringing that into the studio and sitting
He
beside
says I'm non-contagious, but anyway,
Yeah.
my wife hadn't gotten it yet. So
What does
that's a
he
good
know?
thing.
Freaking doctor.
But, yeah, what's he know?
Hey, Hey, Chad Potts is the president of Bass Champs, and this weekend they got a little tournament on Red River. Is this going to be one of the biggest and best ever, Chad?
I think it is. We're looking forward to it. I know we had more teams qualify than we've ever had, so we never know how many are going to show up until we get there. But guys are sure excited to come back.
What about pre-registration? How are you looking there?
About the same. It's really hard for us to tell on the pre-registers to make it's kind of a black science. We never really know how to judge that. Some of our biggest events have the lowest pre-registers, so it's hard to say.
Hey, I'm part of this show. You talk about black science.
So ballpark, Chad. Roughly how many boats are you expecting at Red River South?
I think last time we had about 260. I would guess somewhere between 250 and 300 would be my guess.
Now, Chad, this is a culmination. Of course, I know it's your championship. Tell us, there's different divisions. How many divisions do you have that can qualify for this event?
We have 4 regions total, so there's north, south, east, and central. And the way that we do our qualification is if you fish all 4 events in any one region, then you automatically qualify. Or if you fish 5 events from any region total, then you qualify. Because we got a lot of guys that just like traveling around and fishing different events, but not necessarily every tournament in one specific region.
Have you been to the river? Are you in town yet?
Not yet. I'm coming tomorrow. A lot of our guys came down. They can start practice today. From as far as our staff goes, some of our guys came yesterday to start setting up the stage and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I know Jeff and them are coming down today, and then I'm coming tomorrow.
Comparatively speaking, over the last couple of years, the river is probably prettier right now than I've seen it in a long time.
Yeah, your timing's good.
Yeah, you could not ask for the water to be in any better shape. Now, it's low, and these guys are going to find that there's a lot of places that maybe they wanted to go to or something they saw on Google Earth that is 5 years old, and it's totally inaccessible right now.
Exactly.
But I'm going to tell you, the river just looks great. Now, I haven't been over, but I can tell you it looks really, really awesome.
Cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens. I know from what I've been hearing, fishing's pretty tough, but with this many good anglers, somebody's going to figure them out.
I will predict
going to win regardless.
As much as I fish the river, Chad, I will predict it will be won on the main river. This will not be a tournament won in backwater. The main river, Red River, has changed a lot in the last 2 years, ever since our last 2 big floods. And when the water clears up on the river and it gets stable, I'm telling you right now, the fishing can be really good on the main river now. So it won't surprise me at all if it's won on the main river.
That'll be interesting to see. I know, of course, during practice days, everybody's trying to figure out everybody has the farthest syndrome. They want to go as far away from where they are as they can. So
exactly,
they're trying to get into places that they've never been into before, and things like that's when we have any kind of boat troubles or anything like that. It's just because guys are trying to go places they really shouldn't be going.
Well, there are places like the jungle. I know coming off the mouth of the river, when you turn to go to the jungle in the very back, that whole flat right there, just as you come off the river, is about 1.5 feet deep now. You better be on plane when you go across it. Otherwise, you will not make it. You will be out pushing. Yep. So there's places like that now, ever since the last 2 big floods we've had. That, and I got to give, again, Red River Waterway Commission a lot of credit. They have done a great job of dredging different areas to try to open those spots up. But, again, some of them, they just couldn't get to all of them. And but anyway, there are places the guys just need to be a little careful. And just, if you don't know, you better shut down and idle.
Chad, I want to ask you, you're obviously representing one of the largest team tournament circuits in the country. What do you think you guys are doing that's so right?
Well, that's a good question, since we change it up a lot every year. I think
is that part of it, changing it up a lot every year?
I think it is. I think that you've got to, there's obviously the standard of what you have to do to just be a tournament, but and making the weigh-in efficient and keeping the fish alive and those kind of things. But from the marketing perspective, we try to listen to everybody throughout the year, and we tried different things, different paybacks, different 3 fish, 5 fish, and we just try to keep reinventing ourselves. And sometimes we make a mistake and end up going back to where we were, and sometimes it's something that sticks. But I think a lot of our, just from the longevity side of it, The off limits period that we do, that we've always stuck to, which is a 5-day off limits before the event, not letting pros or full-time guides in. The majority of our crowd is, just working guys. They have to have normal jobs and normal businesses, and
well, you took the Sealy approach.
What's that?
You took the Sealy approach. I mean, Bob Sealy's made a living by keeping the guides and the pros out of his circuit, and a lot of people turn out for that. I mean, I think that's a great gesture on your part.
Yeah, and I just kind of from a sponsor's perspective, they want to reach the guys that are out buying their products, not necessarily the guys that are wanting it all for free. And that's our crowd. Our guys are. A lot of them could be pros. They're talented enough to be, but they got families and jobs and things like that's keeping them away from pursuing the next level up. And it's kind of our where we've always wanted to be, is just in this grassroots area.
Well, the other thing I think, Chad, is your foundation. Your foundation is Toledo Bend and Rayburn. You can handle 200, 300 boats on Toledo Bend and Rayburn. If you were based in an area like we are up here, where it's almost impossible to find a lake that will hold 100 boats, then and that's what we work off of. But I mean, the best thing y'all ever did was start where your base is from 2 great lakes that will hold large quantity of boats.
Yeah, and this year we actually had our biggest team event we've ever had out on Rayburn. The first event this year, we had 396 teams.
Wow! Wow!
That's boats for days.
So it just
How long does a weigh-in take when there's 390 teams?
It's really just kind of a system. We do 33 boats in a flight, 10-minute intervals, and it really never got too backed up. It never. But the other thing we do on big fields like that is do a zero bonus. We'll call it conservation bonus, so that and basically all that is, if you don't weigh in a fish, we do a drawing for $500, and on that particular event we did 4 of those, I believe, 3 or 4. So we kind of encourage guys on a big field like that. If you're not going to be in the money, and points don't really matter to get to our championship, just release your fish and have a chance to win one of the $500 drawings. And that seems to have made a huge difference when we get fields over 250 to 300 boats. That conservation bonus seems to really, really make a big impact on how long the weigh-in takes and how many people are in line and that kind of thing.
Now, is the event this weekend 2 days?
It is. Yeah, Saturday and Sunday.
Another thing that speeds up your weigh-in is keep Fishburne away from the mic.
Yeah. We that's he's good. He kind of stays away from the weigh-in side of it, other than the owners tournament. And I'm up there on stage with him, so I feel like I'm constantly turning a wheel up there, saying, "Okay, move along." But no, he's a lot of fun to work with on stage. We've been doing it for a long time, but that's the only event that he actually does the weigh-in for us. Is the owners tournament.
Yeah,
Chad, what is going to be the restrictions for the anglers in this tournament? Can they go? Where can they go, and where can't they go?
That's a kind of a Jeff question, really. I know it's limited to certain pools.
I think 3, 4, and 5.
Okay.
Right. And as far as particular areas, that's there's some maps that we have out. But man, I'm kind of removed from that side of the tournament.
Yeah. Somebody actually posted on Facebook the other day the deadwater areas for y'all, which is Cooley's. Right there at the Port Lake. Then there's an area right there by the boat ramp. Now, the barge turnaround was not listed on there, which really surprised me.
Good. I hope 100 boats go in there. I really do. I mean, because no, seriously, because that's one of those places. I know the legality.
It shouldn't
the
be
story,
off limits.
That's right.
Exactly.
The story behind Cooley's is a legal deal. They won the court ruling. It should be off limits.
Right.
The barge turnaround is nothing but crappy politics.
Right.
They did not have the right to do that.
I know Stevens Lake is off limits down there in Coshada, across from Coshada and Pool 4.
Well, you can't even get to it right now.
No, you couldn't. You have to have high water to get
Chad,
in there.
now, one thing, and obviously we're preaching to the choir on this, but in your pre-tournament meeting, I think it would be stupid and remiss if maybe it wasn't mentioned. Hey, look, there's a lot of places that maybe the last time you were at Red River you could get into. Just safety would be the default. And I think that's something that's well worth repeating.
Oh, sure. Yeah, and that's something we've kind of been, preaching throughout, just on our, social media and forums and things like that too. And luckily, a lot of guys do it for us. That have gone during the pre-practice in the months ahead, but yeah, they, it's the beauty of having one of these rivers for a championship is that it's unlike most of the things that any of our guys fish, and the Red River is really not a home body of water to very many of our anglers.
Right.
So, it's it's pretty intimidating for a lot of guys that have never been there. And then of course every time we come there, it seems like a totally different river. Like you said, it's still different now than it was 2 years ago. So,
yeah.
I think a lot of them, and it's part of the reason why we give them 3 days of practice this week instead of one, is just to kind of let them take their time and figure out where they can and where they can't run.
Right. Well, Chad, we want to say thank you, too, for bringing this event to Shreveport Bossier. We really do appreciate it. It's great for our community, and so it's a shot in the arm. We do appreciate it. That's a lot of people coming to Shreveport Bossier to spend a week here, so thank you.
Absolutely, man. We love coming down there. I wish we could come every year. We just try to kind of get to mix it up every so often, but it's a fantastic place, and everybody just welcomes us there, and all the businesses and all the folks that come out. It's really, really fun to come there.
Well, y'all knock them dead this weekend. Thank you, Chad.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
You betcha. Chad Potts, president of Bass Champs. The Red River Championship is this weekend, and we got a couple of local guys. Mark Price and Martin Elshot going to be competing in that this weekend.
Yep.
And my money would be on them. My money would be on them if they were fishing, smallmouth fishing up in North Dakota.
Absolutely, but don't rule out Jeff Holder and Terry Burkhart.
I was supposed to say, Jeff Holder will be a contender for this one as well.
Well, we're going to have Mark on the show. Mark Price is going to be on with us a little bit later, so make sure you stick around for that.
I'm not in
ideas.
it.
Huh?
They're lucky I'm not in it.
Yeah, I know they're scared.
I know they would
They're
be.
scared. We're hooking up, tracking down. We're not scared. 11:30, the Tiger.
Jay Wilder here, and of course we at Hook It Up and Tracking Down love to be social. So check out our Facebook page at Hook It Up and Tracking Down Show for outdoors news and some great educational videos. This segment presented by United Rentals, Bob Seeley Outdoors, Wildwood Resort at Toledo Bend, and Mustang Survival, designing and manufacturing marine safety and climate protection products for over 45 years. Take it away, guys.
Today, so many products we use are made overseas, costing Americans jobs and income. But there's one company that's making product right here in Louisiana. K2 Coolers, a real company that makes a real cooler at a real affordable price. Say goodbye to high-dollar coolers and hello to K2. Whether you hunt, fish, camp, or tailgate, K2 Coolers has what you need, large or small. To see the K2 Cooler lineup, go to Paul's Farm and Garden on North Market in Shreveport or go to K2Coolers.com.
Okay, outdoor news. We got a little bit, and somebody looks to me like could benefit from one of these stories with some rewards money from Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries.
Louisiana Operation Game Thief, LOGT, that's a Louisiana Wildlife Crime Stoppers program, awarded $2,900 to diligent citizens statewide at their quarterly meeting October the 5th in Woodworth, South Louisiana. The LOGT board reviewed 6 cases that included public tips from informants. A total of 20 subjects were apprehended, and a total of 28 offenses were written in regards to the reviewed cases. The cases reviewed and awarded money to the public for their assistance consisted of 2 alligator cases, suitcases? No, 2 alligator cases. Okay, a whooping crane case, a deer case, a dove baiting case, and a migratory fowl case. Anyone wishing to report wildlife or fishery violation should anonymously call LDWF's 24-hour toll-free Operation Game Thief hotline at 1-800-422-2511.
Hold up right there. They want you to anonymously call. And then at their meeting,
they're going to give you an award.
They bring you and everybody else up that turned everybody else in.
They're going to parade you.
They got their big, that big old game show check that they hand you. Put your picture on the website. Here's Mike Eccles. Thanks for turning in your brother Claude. Way to go, Mike.
Mike wouldn't need money for that.
We're so glad you called in anonymously.
Yeah. Well,
maybe
guys.
Maybe they don't. I don't know.
If what did it say? Did you?
Well, it does say that, but I'm just.
You make up.
You got to figure that surely they don't actually parade.
That's what it says.
On stage, but
hey, Junior Evans, show up right here. Yeah, he turned in his mother-in-law for making a new purse out of a whooping crane.
There you go.
Hey, I don't have a problem with it. And if I was going to turn somebody in, if I thought the violation was to the degree that I was going to turn somebody in, I'm not going to have a problem telling them I did it.
Would you tell them first? Would you give them a chance to stop what they're doing before you turned them in?
This was a question we had on what would you do?
Oh, was it?
What would you do?
Yeah, we had a question, and I think it all depends on
if it was your wife, what would you do? Would you turn her in?
I gotta live with it.
I'd take that $2,900 in a heartbeat.
I gotta live with it.
I'd have to move out.
No. That woman knows where I sleep.
I'm telling you.
I don't know.
Okay.
I tell you what, turn in the outlaws, get paid for it. That's what I say.
Well, there you go. Have either one of y'all ever done a tip to 411? Have you ever done that?
No.
I hadn't either. I've never really
Not
seen
just
an
me
incident.
calling in Eccles. That was it.
There you go.
It's only
Body recovered. Sad news out of Lake Bulow in Alexandria. Body recovered. Agents are investigating the death of Philip Brandt III, 62 of Alexandria, after he was found in Lake Bulow next to the red kayak. Boaters in the area located the body of Brandt around 4:30 p.m. and called for help. Brandt was pronounced dead on the scene. His body was turned over to the Rapides Parish Coroner's Office to determine an official cause of death. A red kayak and a paddle belonging to Brandt was found about 100 yards from his body. His body was found without a personal flotation device. So, moral of the story, folks, wear your flotation device. Mustang or whatever brand you want to wear. Make sure you wear one.
Okay. I am on the Louisiana Deer Hunters Facebook page. one of my favorites, because there's constantly people putting stuff up there. They got questions about different things and, opinions about different things on there. And they recently put a story up that, if y'all got a minute, I got to read you this story.
Okay, but let's tell what this is going to lead into.
This is leading into
a segment that we're going to have.
A segment we're going to have that's going to be about the
most unbelievable
hunting and fishing
stories, true or false.
Right.
And each week, one of us is going to tell some bizarre hunting and fishing story. Or, if you're listening, you can call in or text us or something and give us a story.
Or put it on our Facebook page.
Yeah, that's right.
For $2,900.
Most unbelievable hunting and fishing stories ever.
Got about 5.
This one says, it's a letter from somebody who wants to remain anonymous, who farms, writes well, and actually tried this. He says, I had this idea that I could rope a deer, put it in a stall, feed it up on corn for a couple of weeks, and then kill it and eat it. The first step in this adventure was getting a deer. I figured that since they congregate at my cattle feeder and they don't seem to have much fear of me when we're all out there, a bold one will sometimes come right up and sniff at the bags of feed while I'm in the back of the truck not 4 feet away. It shouldn't be too difficult to rope one, get up to it, toss a bag over its head to calm it down, and then hog tie it and transport it home. I filled the cattle feeder and then hid down at the end with my rope. Well, the cattle, having seen this roping thing before, stayed well back. They weren't having any of it. After about 20 minutes, my deer showed up, 3 of them. I picked out a likely-looking one, stepped out from the end of the feeder, threw my rope. The deer just stood there and stared at me. I wrapped the rope around my waist and twisted the end so I'd have a good hold. Well, the deer just stood at me and stared. But you could easily tell it was mildly concerned about this whole rope situation. I took a step towards it. It took a step away. I put a little tension on the rope, and then I received an education. The first thing that I learned is that while a deer may just stand there looking at you funny while you rope it, they are spurred to action when you start pulling on that rope. That deer exploded. The second thing I learned is that pound for pound, a deer is a lot stronger than a cow or a colt. A cow or a colt in that weight range, I could fight down with a rope and some dignity. A deer, no chance. That thing ran and bucked and twisted and pulled. There was no controlling it and certainly no getting close to it. As it jerked me off my feet and started dragging me across the ground, it occurred to me that having a deer on a rope wasn't nearly as good an idea as I'd originally imagined. The only upside is that they don't have as much stamina as many other animals. A brief 10 minutes later, it was tired and not nearly as quick to jerk me off my feet and drag me when I managed to get up. It took me a few minutes to realize this, since I was mostly blinded by the blood flowing out of the big gash in my head. At that point, I had lost my taste for corn-fed venison. I just wanted to get that devil creature off the end of that rope. I figured if I just let it go with the rope hanging around his neck, it would likely die slow and painfully somewhere. At the time, there was no love at all between me and that deer. At that moment, I hated that thing, and I would venture a guess that the feeling was mutual. Despite the gash in my head and the several large knots where I had cleverly arrested the deer's momentum by bracing my head against various large rocks as it dragged me across the ground, I could still think clearly enough to recognize that there was a small chance that I shared some tiny amount of responsibility for the situation we were in. I didn't want the deer to have to suffer a slow death, so I managed to get it lined back up in between my truck and the feeder, little trap I had set beforehand, kind of like a squeeze chute. I got it back in there and started moving up so I could get my rope back. Did you know that deer bite? They do. I never in a million years would have thought that a deer would bite somebody, so I was very surprised when I reached up there to grab that rope and the deer grabbed hold of my wrist. Now, when a deer bites you, it's not like being bit by a horse where they just bite you and slide off and then let go. A deer bites you and shakes its head, almost like a pit bull. They bite hard and it hurts. The proper thing to do when a deer bites you is probably to freeze and draw back slowly. I tried screaming and shaking instead. My method was ineffective. Seems like the deer was biting and shaking for several minutes, but it was likely only several seconds. I, being smarter than a deer, though you may be questioning that claim by now, tricked it. While I kept it busy tearing the tendons out of my right arm, I reached up with my left hand and pulled that rope loose. That was when I got my final lesson in deer behavior for the day. Deer will strike at you with their front feet. They rear right up on their back feet and strike right about head and shoulder area. and their hooves are surprisingly sharp. I learned that a long time ago. When an animal like a horse strikes at you with their hooves and you can't get away easily, the best thing to do is try and make a loud noise and make an aggressive move towards the animal. This will usually cause them to back down a bit so that you can escape. This was not a horse. This was a deer. So obviously, such trickery wouldn't work. In the course of a millisecond, I devised a different strategy. I screamed like a woman and tried to turn and run. The reason I had always been told not to try to turn and run is that when a horse paws at you, there is a good chance that it will hit in the back of the head. Deer may not be so different from horses after all. Besides being twice as strong and 3 times as evil, because the second I turned to run, it hit me right in the back of the head and knocked me down. Now, when a deer paws at you and knocks you down, it doesn't immediately leave. I suspect it does not recognize that the danger has passed. What they do instead is paw your back and jump up and down on you while you're laying there crying like a little girl and covering your head. I finally managed to crawl under the truck, and the deer finally went away. So now I know why when people go deer hunting, they bring a rifle with a scope to sort of even the odds. All these events are true, so help me God, an educated farmer.
Wow. That's a pretty cool story.
Thank you for hooking up, tracking down 1130 The Tiger.
That's right, here comes another hour of the Hook It Up and Tracking Down show. This segment presented by Ranger Boats, Despino and Jim's Big South Tire, the Red River Waterway Commission, and Stingray Line Cutter. Cuts any and all fishing line, quick and easy. Rated as one of the top products at ICAST 2017. Go to stingraylinecutter.com to get yours. Now back to the Hook It Up and Tracking Down show.
Hey, it's Gary McCoy, the old Ranger and Iowa Pro staffer. Steve Graff from the Mud Hen, Mike Eccles is here. And, of course, thank you to Jay for getting us into this. And this is probably, I'm going to say, one of those people that you wish you could be. You wish you could have that talent.
No doubt.
You wish you could be J.W. Randall, who just was on the History Channel's TV show Forged in Fire. And you're the champion. There is no better, is there, J.W.?
Well, it was truly an honor to be asked to represent my country, and it was just a great experience all the way around.
Now, JW, I watched the episode actually last night. It aired on the History Channel last night. I'm sure for the second time, I think. But anyway, I know you defeated a guy from Poland. Where were the other two guys from?
There was another guy from Argentina and a fellow from France.
Oh, okay, France.
I actually went head-to-head against a guy with France for the final.
Oh, okay.
When your knife, sword, blade is judged, what are the things that they judge that on? I mean, is sharpness one of them?
Yes, on the beginning part, the front side of the show, they're trying to have you build a knife that will perform, and they tell you what they're going to require the blade to do. In this particular case, it was to chop, make a log chop, which is really hard on the blade, and then to be able to slice apples. So the trick on it is getting the edge geometry right on the blade so that they'll do both. You know, they'll take the abuse cuts, and then they'll still make the finesse cuts to the apple. That was the front side. And then, of course, when you come back and go into the finale, then they got a whole different deal there. That's what you're going to actually be required to build back at your home shop, and they don't reveal that until at that particular point in time.
Well, JW, this is Mike here, and I appreciate you taking your time out to be here today. Let's kind of turn the go back and start from the beginning. What is this a hobby or is this a profession for you? I don't even know what you do for a living.
Well, I'm self-employed in the welding and steel fabrication business and have been for 37 years. And I got into making knives about 20 years ago. A friend of mine from East Texas introduced me to the American Bladesmith Society. And I went through a bunch of training through them and just kind of fell in love with it. You know, I have a great love of metallurgy, having a metal background, and so that was what intrigued me. And then the fascination of making Damascus steel is what really got a hold to me. And
okay, stop right there, because that was one of my questions. What in the world is Damascus steel?
Well, Damascus steel comes in several different forms. First off, there's pattern welded steel, which is just taking two high-carbon layers of steel that have dissimilar alloys, and one has a nickel base in it, which actually gives you a resist, and the other steel is what we call black steel. And so when we etch it in ferric chloride, which acts like an acid on it, it reveals a pattern. And there's many different what we call face patterns, which is you can lay up a billet from 40 layers to 4,000 layers or more. I mean, I've done some steel in the past that had 52,000 layers of steel in it. So all that is kind of dictates what you're trying to achieve in the end, the look that you're trying to get. But like hunting knives and using knives, I'll say the average layer count on those is like 160 to 200 layers. And that's generally what I shoot for. It's the amount of contrast that I like to see in the blades. And also, basically what you've got, though, is opposing layers. You've got black steel and then what we call silver steel, which is the one that's going to give you the resist. So regardless of how long it stays in the acid, silver's going to stay silver and the black's going to get blacker, which is giving you the contrast.
Well, JW, I got to ask this because my grandfather told me this a long time ago. He always said that if a knife won't rust, it ain't worth a hill of beans.
Yeah, ain't good quality.
And there's nothing to, if it won't rust, it ain't. Agree, disagree?
Gary, I totally agree, buddy. All high carbon steels will rust, and they will take an edge easy, hold an edge well. That's the trade-off that we're looking for. There's plenty of super steels out there that will hold an edge incredibly well, but you've got to be a scientist to get an edge back on it. And a lot of people will send knives back to the factory because they physically can't get them sharp.
Right.
Well, a lot of that is due to the fact that the Rockwell hardness on it is actually too hard for, to make it easy enough for just the average guy to put an edge back on it. We're shooting for about a 58 Rockwell, which is kind of ideal. In other words, it will hold an edge and do its task, and then yet it'd be easy enough to get an edge back on. You don't have to spend 3 days putting an edge back on it. That's the perfect trade-off, and that's what we're looking for.
Now, another thing, JDB, that I've learned from watching, I've watched it 2 or 3 times, is that no two pieces of steel are alike. Is that correct?
Well, yes and no. Like 5160 is a common steel that's used for performance blades. And so when you've got that material certified, yes, it's true across the board. In other words, you can predict the outcome if you stay within the parameters of what we know and how we know to go about doing it. With all that being said, there's plenty of things out there that people want to toy with to make knives and all, but when you don't have material certification on that material, you really don't know. And there's the thing about it, alloys, any kind of alloy can just radically change the outcome of that. And if you don't know what they are, then you can wind up with a train wreck in the end. So.
But you know what? On the show, aren't you dealing with stuff that you don't know? I mean, that you had to overcome that. You really don't know what they're going to ask of you.
Well, no, the particular show that I was on, we had 52100 ball bearings, of which I've made many knives from ball bearings before. That's
awesome. You take a bunch of ball bearings and make a knife out of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ball bearings, 52100 steel, and it is a great steel for a performance blade. Super tough, but it's got some heat treat issues that you got to be aware of. You got to know how to handle it in the heat treat, to get it to do what you need it to do.
Yeah, because I would think once you reheat that, doesn't that weaken the steel? And then, of course, I know you go back through a hardening process. I'm a little familiar with this. But anyway, when you dip that steel after it comes out of the furnace, are you dipping that in the oil or is that actual water?
No, it's an oil hardening steel. Water. There are water hardening steels like W2 and what have you. They do really well, but the primary steels on these performance blades and all that are going to be oil hardening type steels. And the 52100 it does really well in that. And on the show, I actually edge hardened mine. I was the only one of the four that edge hardened. And that's an insurance policy. What it's doing, I'm actually, all you care about being hard is just the immediate cutting edge.
Right.
The spine of the knife, it's actually an insurance policy. It's never been fully hard.
Hey, JW, let me ask you a question. Are you out in the front yard picking up pecans or something? You're coming and going, and we want everybody to be able to hear every word you're saying.
Let me try to be still. Sometimes when I have bad reception out here, and I tried to get the spots that I thought would be really good. Is this pretty solid right here?
Yeah. It was just coming and going like you were moving around. So
okay. I'm gonna try to stay right here where it'll stay.
That's
stay
good.
solid.
That's good.
Right there.
That's the best it's been right there.
Yeah, don't move.
Okay. All right.
Well, JW, do you custom make knives for sale?
Yes, I do custom make knives. I've been custom making knives for 20 years now.
Wow. Now tell me, when a guy comes to you and says, I want a real good knife with a gutting edge on it. This is what I'm going to use.
Skin and knife.
It's good skin and knife with a gut hook. The whole 9 yards. What's this guy need to be prepared to pay?
The beginning prices on my hunting knives started in just a carbon hunter start at $575 and go up from there. Damascus will start at about $725 to $750 and go up from there.
But that's a knife. That's a knife that will last him a lifetime.
Not only that, it will be an heirloom.
Right.
Something that he can pass down in his family that that folks in his family can take pride in on it.
Now I got another question.
So when you send the 3 of us all our free knives, we'll know about how much money we got out of it. That's good.
There you
You
go.
know what, guys? I love y'all, but that's not going to happen.
I was gonna hold my breath, but I don't think I will now. JW, now here's another question for you. Average Joe Blow really sucks at sharpening a knife. Average Joe Blow can't sharpen a knife properly. If he's going to get a knife sharpener, he needs a little help. Which one do you recommend for the average guy? Would it be something like the little Smith, or would it be Lansky's? Do you have a recommendation?
For me, but I am a professional knife maker, so I'm going to have the most aggressive thing I can have. I want to get an edge on it quickly, and then I want to go back and refine it. Like diamonds are by far the best. For a guy that's an amateur or whatever, or an occasional sharpener, the Lansky system is good. Ceramic sticks are good. The problem is people confuse angles and all that. And to be honest with you, once you learn how to do it correctly, it's really not that hard to do.
True.
But I would suggest somebody getting a diamond, because here's what happens. People start sharpening knives, and they don't really feel like they're doing anything. And so they start playing with that angle. They start moving the angle. But keep that knife right on that same angle, as close as you can. But the beautiful thing about the diamonds is they're so much more aggressive. You are actually accomplishing something that you can realize. So they're pricey, but, at the same time, for as many knives as I'm sharpening, they're just an absolute must.
Where would I go to see the knives that you might have for sale?
you can go on my website. It's jwrandall.com. That's RANDALL.
jwrandall.com.
Yep.
I am really, really, really impressed. Is ball bearings the craziest thing you ever made a knife out of, or is there something that would be even stranger than that?
Yeah, there's something stranger than that. Y'all will probably appreciate this. A Caterpillar Dozer crankshaft is 1080 modified V steel, which is modified V, which means it contains a small amount of vanadium, which makes knives extremely tough. And I've made some competition knives out of that crankshaft material, and it's just, they make incredible chopping knives.
Who looks at the crankshaft
Yeah,
and
exactly.
a bulldozer?
Says, I want a knife out of
I
that.
can make a knife out of that.
Exactly.
Well, to be honest with you, the company that I got them from, they failed on the heat treat on 5,000 of them. So a lot of people lost their jobs, and I just happened to get one of them and have the material certification on it. So,
Wow.
yeah, it wasn't a good picture for a lot of people. So.
Yeah. J.W. Randall, thank you, and congratulations, brother. I mean,
Yeah, man.
There can't be a greater sign of endorsement than being the champion on Forged in Fire.
Thank you, guys. You know what? In all honesty, God gets the glory. God
Amen.
Gave me the gift to do this, and I'm just truly thankful for that. And I want to use the platform that He's given me to share with others what He's done in my life. And I also want to thank our veterans for providing me the freedom to be able to go and do these things that I've been able to go and do. And I thank them from the bottom of my heart for their sacrifice for our country.
Whether you won or not, because of your priorities, you are a champion, J.W. Randall.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate y'all so much.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Hooking up, tracking down, 11:30. The Tiger.
Have you seen our new website? Well, check it out. HUTDshow.com is a great source for all things related to the great outdoors, including local weather, recipes, calendars, event, and the latest blog. Also, check out our HUTD video tips, reviewing products and situations that will help make you a better sportsman. You can catch one on our latest, one of our latest shows by going to our video archives and catch up on whenever or whatever you missed on today's show. Go to HUTDshow.com to see more. That's HUTDshow.com, the best resource for outdoors news and information.
Hey, this show wouldn't be possible without our great producer, Jay Topwater Watley.
Yeah.
Pushes all the right buttons, makes this show possible. This segment is brought to you by Daiwa Rods and Reels, Bayou Outdoors Supercenter, Seagar Fishing Line, and Groove Fishing, changing the future of tackle storage forever. Go to Groove, that's G-R-U-V, GrooveFishing.com to learn more.
Yeah, now
Or you could just listen to Mark Price.
we could just listen to Mark Price, and which is probably good advice to a fisherman wanting to fish the Red River this week. You better listen to Mark Price.
I know. Wait a minute. You know, I want you to know, Mark. They just threw up a challenge to you a minute ago.
Yeah, well,
They said in order for you to win the championship this weekend, you got to beat Holder and Berghardt.
yeah, that's going to be a chore.
Yeah.
Well, you've packed a lunch before, hadn't you?
Oh, I have.
So you're in for it. I mean, it's the championship. I mean, you guys are so unfamiliar with standing there in the winner's circle. God love you. I mean, this will be your first if you win, right?
Well, you know, we've won a couple of times, but we'll have to see about this one.
What are you thinking?
Oh, I tell you, the fishing, you know, this is the third time Bass Champs has been here. I think by far the fishing is a lot worse this time than it has been the previous times.
Mark Price of the team Elshot and Price preparing this weekend for the Bass Champs Championship on the Red River 2-day tournament. Any ballpark guess what you think? What would you like to have at the end of the day Saturday? I mean, realistically, to put you in a position to capitalize and win Sunday.
Well, you know, I'd like to have 28 pounds, but I'd probably take 23.
You come in with 28 pounds, you're going to be polygraphed.
It's a
They're
3-day.
flying the feds for that one.
Yeah,
they're going to take body tissue.
It's a 3-day event, right?
Yeah, it's a 2-day event.
Oh, it's a 2-day event. Okay, I'm sorry. So
So at
yeah,
the-
that would be about right.
At the end of Saturday, truthfully, is there still a 20-pound sack swimming around in Red River?
Maybe in February you might catch one.
Yeah.
But I don't think you're going to right now.
No. What do you think as far as you guys are y'all pretty much going to start? Have you started pre-fishing yet? Is that started yet?
Yes, I'm actually pre-fishing now.
Okay. How much running will happen with the full field if they have 300 teams show up? How many will go all the way down to 3?
I'm thinking over half.
Wow.
Oh, well, no, excuse me, not to 3.
Not to 3.
That's 1 time to 4.
Right.
Okay.
That I would agree with. Half will go to 4.
Okay.
And probably another 10 boats might go into 3.
That's probably correct.
Yeah.
Hey, Mark, this is Mike Eccles. Thank you for being with us.
Hey, Mike.
You doing okay, buddy?
Man, I'm good.
We found Mike on the side of the road.
Well,
So-
I know, and you're going to have to take me back there when the show's over. We had Martin on the show here just a few weeks ago, and in the process of lining him up and lining you up, I don't think I've gone out on a limb. I believe I can back it up. We're saying that the team of Elshot and Price is probably the best team that has ever come out of the state of Louisiana. And I'm not saying that because I've known you for years and because I like you. The facts are there.
Yeah. Proof is in the pudding.
And I try to tell people all the time in the tournament business, the worst thing I see, and I see it so much, is people starting with team members that they don't know anything about, and they change,
Right.
and then they get somebody, they're looking for overnight success. That's not what happened with y'all, is it? I mean, y'all been fishing together how long as a team?
This will be our 41st season.
So,
Golly.
yeah, so that was before Moses, I think. Around Moses time.
Have y'all ever had an argument out there on the water? I'm talking about knockdown, drag out.
No.
I can't see Martin getting that upset. He doesn't
No,
strike me.
Martin.
He's very low
Martin doesn't
key.
get upset about anything.
Exactly.
Have y'all ever had an opportunity where you really felt like, I'm right about this. We've got to go to those fish, and he felt the same. And you finally had to say, okay, let's flip a coin. Let's do something else. Has that ever happened?
Well, there's been times where I was running the front and things weren't going well, and he politely asked me to move to the back.
I can see that happening too.
But you know what? After 40-something years, y'all have got to be on such the same level, same wavelength that you almost have to be thinking alike all the time. I bet you don't disagree with the decisions that often.
Y'all like a married couple.
Don't do that to them.
We've been fishing together longer than we've been married to our wives.
Exactly.
And you don't when Martin can't show up or you can't show up, you don't go out and get another guy to fish a tournament and give away all your secrets either, do you?
No.
There you go.
What little bit we have, we want to hold on to.
So if Martin passes, I can't come in and get in the boat with you?
Well, it depends on where we are.
Okay.
You know.
Hey,
you can go.
Mark, what is the best body of water in North Louisiana today?
I tell you,
He ain't gonna say Red River. I can tell you that.
No, that's not even in the top 20.
You know, I tell you, our lakes are on a downtrend right now.
Yes, they are.
Yep.
They really are.
You think Salvinia is the number one issue with all that?
No, wait a minute. I want him to answer that question first.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
What's the best lake in North Louisiana, in your estimation, right now? That one lake where you go, man, you know.
That's where you want to go.
It's going to take 15 pounds to break the top 25.
Well, I would still stay like Darbone.
I won. I wrote that down.
Yeah.
I wrote that down. I wrote two lakes down. I said he's going to say Darbone first. Now give me the second one.
Without counting the cypress tree lakes, I would say Lake Claiborne.
Oh, really?
Oh,
yeah.
You know,
Wow.
Claiborne, I had a guy that just yesterday sent me pictures of Claiborne right now. It is, I mean, they've drained it. I mean, there's like no water.
Like pulled the plug.
Oh, dude, it's
Really?
unreal. I don't even think you can, I don't think you can see water from the state park down by the dam.
Can you launch?
No, there's no
Oh
way.
yeah, you can. Yeah. There's ways to launch.
Well, I'm talking about at the state park.
Well, no, probably not.
Huh, wow.
It's unreal. But the Salvinia, again, they're the issue. Do you think that there is hope for us in the future, Mark, that, you know, within the next 10 years they're going to have something that'll battle Salvinia for us?
Oh yeah, I hope so. I tell you what, I'm just sick about it. You know, Black Lake and Distino and Saline Lake. You know, they've just been devastated.
Does Salvinia? When you and Martin start preparing for a tournament, do y'all prepare for if the Salvinia is here or if it's not here? Do you have those different scenarios, or do you go into it and, like, you know, we're going to fish these fish whether it's here or not?
Well, we haven't had much success fishing in the thick Salvinia.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard that some people have. Every now and then you can catch them on a frog in the same place you've been catching them, but it hasn't been the case for us.
Mark, between you and Martin, what is your favorite technique to fish? I mean, does that ever clash with you two? Like, one guy's a hard bait guy, the other guy's soft plastic. What is your main thing that you like to do? Would you rather pitch and flip?
Well, I'm kind of a broad guy. Martin is the soft plastic jig guy.
Yeah.
But you know, I switch around a lot. He doesn't switch much.
Is that the key to y'all success, though?
Well, it may be. It may be. He is. You know, the key to the success is having an outstanding partner, and you know, he's just extremely good.
You said you switch around. He doesn't. If it's not going well, and you're not catching a lot of fish, and Mark Price switches around and he stumbles up on something kind of oddball, and he starts catching fish. Is Martin automatically going to change to what you're doing, or does he stay with his strength and let you go ahead and catch 5 fish, and I know this is day to day, but you know, a lot of times, you know, both guys have to be fishing the same thing, or one guy stays with his strength to try to catch that one big fish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, rarely does he change to something. He's going to stay with a.
So if you're catching him on the top water and just catching fish, he's probably going to stay pitching a jig or throwing a creature bait or something to try to catch bigger fish.
On tournament day, probably so.
Yeah.
Now, Mark, other thing, too, on Red River for this event, do you find yourself possibly going to have to run and gun a lot, or can you get in an area, you think, and possibly milk an area for 2 days?
I'm afraid we're going to have to make lots of stops.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Run and gun. That's typical. Red River.
Well, brother, we do wish you the best of luck. You guys obviously don't need it, though. I mean, the fact is that you're already winners before you ever get to the water, and thank you for such great ambassadorship that you've always had for the northern part of the state of Louisiana. You guys are awesome, and you're great friends and great anglers, great competitors, and if you don't win, you're still winners. But I would bet on you guys or Jeff and Terry. That'd be I'd love to see a final death between the two of y'all if it came down to it.
And thank God I'm not in there, huh?
Yeah, because y'all would just go ahead and give up now if Graff was fishing, right?
Oh well, yeah, we just might.
Yeah,
don't laugh. Don't laugh.
Just don't back your boat in the water. There you go.
Yeah, don't laugh too hard, Mark.
Oh,
Hey,
I remember.
Thank you for hanging out with us, brother. And we certainly wish y'all the best of luck this weekend.
Yeah, man.
Hey, thanks, guys.
We're hooking up and tracking down 11:30. The Tiger. Whoa.
All right, once again, Jay Wadley here, and if you missed a portion of today's show, tune in Saturday mornings from 6 to 8 here on 1130 The Tiger. This segment is presented by Natchitoches Ford, Wildwood Resort at Toledo Bend, and Davis Clothing and Outdoor, clothing, apparel, and hunting products for everyone who enjoys the great outdoors. Now back to Gary, Steve, and Mike.
Attention all outdoorsmen, if you're looking for a great utility trailer, we found one for you. Check out the line of custom-built trailers, perfect for pulling behind your ATV or from commercial power equipment. Tough, durable, and designed for rough terrain, this trailer is great for hauling deer corn or doing yard work. While you're there, check out their line of great Landmaster UTVs in stock and ready for delivery. That's commercial power equipment, 2 locations, 750 Burt Coons in Shreveport and 3030 Nolan Drive in Bossier City.
Here's your V&M Baits best times to fish. This Friday is rated as poor, with Saturday and Sunday rated as fair. There's a 0% chance of rain on Friday, Saturday, and only a 20% on Saturday, with the highs in the lower Sundays. Yeah, that does come after Saturday, doesn't it?
Every time.
Yeah,
You used to.
with the highs in the lower 80s and lows in the mid 60s. Hush, I'm talking. The moon will be on the decrease from 45 to 25% this weekend. Best times to fish, mid to late mornings. Friday, 6:35 to 9:35 a.m. Sunrise will be 7:14, sunset 6:42. Saturday, 7:30 to 10:30 a.m. Sunrise 7:15, sunset 6:40. Sunday, 9:22 to 11:22 a.m. Sunrise will be 7:15, sunset 6:39. This has been your V&M Baits Best Times to Fish.
You know, when you get retired like that, it's every day Saturday.
Exactly.
It don't matter. Every day Saturday.
Actually, every day's Monday.
Let me go ahead and set this up, because this is going to be a series of.
I hope you've already eaten.
Yeah, exactly. If you hadn't, you might want to turn your radio off for right now. But anyway, this is and I want to give credit where credit is due here. Don Worth, he is a writer for the Bassmaster magazine.
Didn't Don Worth used to write the little comedy piece about the two guys,
Chuck and Charlie, or Charlie?
At the very end.
Yeah, it was about them fishing.
I think
right. Charlie and Harry and Charlie.
Harry and Charlie.
Yeah, I think
right. Don Worth actually wrote that.
I think you're exactly right. Well, he's come out with a series called Common Bass Fishing Ailments. And I'm going to go over these. Each week we're going to do a new one. There's probably 8 or 9 of these. Mm-hmm. And today's first one, the scientific name for this first ailment is called the Hershey squirtitis. Of course, it doesn't take a brain surgeon to figure out what this is.
Squirtitis.
Hershey
squirtitis.
Yeah.
Common names: green apple quick step, Montezuma's revenge, or thunder down under. It is caused by eating potted meat or Vienna sausage from a can you found in your boat that expired in 1997 or earlier.
That would have been David Parker's boat.
That's
my
exactly
God!
Right.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Symptoms include intense stomach cramping followed by urgent and frequent trips to the shore or porta potty. Frantic search through your boat storage boxes looking for a roll of Charmin or an extra pair of socks. Treatment: drink 1 gallon of kaopeptate at first sign of distress. No solid food for 24 hours unless you're in a tournament, in which case it's permissible to eat beef jerky. And make sure to stock your boat with plenty of Charmin tissue.
I am so glad you brought this up.
Yeah.
Because Pete and I, we'll be getting ready to fish. And
Pete's had this ailment?
Both of us have.
Okay.
You know, both not at the same time, thank God. But, you know, there's certain things I won't eat the night before a tournament. Like, you know, a lot of people are afraid of Mexican food. I don't mind. It doesn't bother me at all to eat Mexican food as long as I don't load up on the chips and hot sauce. Right. And I don't know. They say that there's some kind of stuff, MGBs or UTVs or something in these foods that are preservatives.
Okay.
And that's what'll mess you up.
That's what triggers everything.
And I always get up an hour before I've got to leave.
Oh, me too.
That way I got plenty of time, whatever. But I can't. My wife makes spaghetti.
Yeah.
And she uses the Monjuni's sauce. She doesn't make her own spaghetti, but she uses that Monjuni sauce.
I've had experience with Monjuni's.
Dude. It's great. I don't eat it 3 days before a tournament.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, whatever needs lubricating will be lubricated.
You. Yes.
It's on, and I get nervous about that, like getting in a deer stand. Hershey squirtitis, you know.
You know what mine is?
What?
Fried food.
Any fried food?
It don't matter if it's fried chicken, fried fish. Fried fish is really hard on me the next morning.
Onions.
Onions can do damage.
What about you? Is there anything that you know, or you just don't matter?
Nothing bothers me.
Really?
I eat anything. I've had 2 things that I put in my mouth in my life that I couldn't eat. 2 things, and one of them was a grilled oyster. Mm-hmm. Before I started eating raw oysters, mm-hmm. and one of them was a baked green tomato something out at the Lavoisier Inn years ago, and I had to spit it in a napkin.
That's
it. Anything else?
That's it.
But nothing tears your stomach up. Nothing, you don't have any.
Nothing's going to send you to the bathroom.
Nope.
Wow.
You must have iron skillet.
And I can eat literally, and have done it in a day, a pound of cheese.
And don't blow up.
Nope. Really?
Nope.
God.
You're not normal.
No, there's nothing wrong with you.
Is this the first time you're figuring that out?
You know,
Now, I'm going to tell you a story about this. Do you remember Bill Cook? Used to fish with Ron Festervan. He lives in Houston now.
Oh, yeah.
Big, tall guy.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this story was about Bill Cook. He drew a guy out in a big draw tournament one time, and the guy wound up being a total jerk. I mean, just a jerk all day long. Bill was kind of the co-angler at that time.
Mm-hmm.
It came time for this guy had to do the big number 2 in during the fishing day.
Yeah.
And the guy told Bill, first time he ever let Bill up on the front deck, told him and said, "I want you to run the troll motor." The guy got stripped down, got off the boat, and hung on the big motor and told Bill to just start trolling away while he did his business in the water to keep him out of it.
I've actually seen that before.
Well, Bill was so aggravated at the way the guy treated him. He knew what was going on. He said about halfway through the act, he spun that troll motor around on reverse and just went backwards and shoved the guy back in it. Yes, sir. That's a true story.
I tell you what else I avoid.
What's that?
Fruit.
Any kind of fruit?
It don't matter. Fruit will make you regular. I don't care.
Yeah, but I don't mind being regular. That's the issue.
The night before a tournament, I won't eat fruit.
It's like those.
Why do you not want to be regular?
Those laxatives.
The night before a tournament, I don't want to eat the fruit. I'll eat it any other time. I don't care.
They say all the time this laxative, that if you take it works while you sleep. Yeah. I don't want that. I want to be wide awake. I'm raring to go.
Who's the comedian that did that?
That was
something Wilson.
Tim Wilson? No, it wasn't Tim Wilson.
That's Flip.
No. No.
Big old fat guy.
T. Bubba Bechtel.
Nope.
That was it. Yes, T. Bubba Bechtel. That's who it is. Okay.
That's who Mike remembers.
I want to be wide awake, raring to go. He was one. You think about this though, when you get in that position, you are at the mercy of whoever. Your buddy that Bill Cook that did that. That guy right then, right while it's happening, you couldn't fight off anybody.
No.
I mean, you are at the total mercy of that nature call.
Exactly, and
I don't want to be there.
Duke Mandino just texted in and he said, "Are y'all really having this conversation on the radio?"
We are.
Yes, we do.
But you think he brought up the Hershey squirtitis?
This is a common ailment among a lot of not just anglers, but deer hunters or any kind of hunter.
Exactly. I don't want that problem. I'm willing to get. I'll stay up all night long if I have to.
How many times have you had it done? Have you had to do this in a boat? Mine's 3. I've had 3 major incidents.
I got to tell you my story, and I can't believe I'm fixing to tell this story on the radio.
Is this on Cross Lake?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I already know this story.
Rodney Reeves had asked me if I would do the announcing at one of the city championships. Tommy and I won the tournament, and Tommy Wilson and I. Well, earlier that morning, I had the problem hit me, and the wind's blowing pretty hard, and I'm hugged up to a cypress tree, and all of a sudden the wind blew me away from the cypress tree. There was 2 choices I had. One was to just hang on to the cypress tree like a cat squirrel and finish what I got to do, or the other is come into the boat, which I thought would be the best idea. My body didn't stop the activity that I had already begun just because I got into the boat. And I'm talking about all over my shorts, all in the tackle boxes. I mean, it's everywhere. It's the nastiest. And after about an hour of rinsing everything out, I got it. But there's still this obvious stain on my shorts. So me and Tommy finally go on. Tommy says, we got a chance of winning this thing. So Rodney says, hey, you want to do the announcing? He said, we always get you to do that. And I was like, no, I don't want to do this one. And he said, why? And I said, well, I think me and Tommy won. I'm pretty sure we won. I don't need to be doing the announcing if we won. He goes, oh, that would be even better. So finally I have to pull Rodney over to the side, and I said, Rodney, look at my shorts. He said, what is that? I said, it's exactly what it looks like.
And smells like.
And I don't need to be up on the stage. He said, no, you're right. He said, we'll get Eccles to do it. So that's
Is that the beginning of Eccles' career as an MC?
It could have been back in the day. That was.
See, if it wouldn't have been him that pooped on himself, right. Mike, you never would have been who you are today.
I wouldn't be famous if it hadn't been for loose bowels. Now, my son just texted in and reminded me something. I said, nothing ever bothers me. And I may have already told the story one time. It was up at our duck camp. Saturday afternoon, we had a big fire going outside, drinking beer. And inside the trailer, we had this bowl of chips and some hot sauce there.
Yeah.
And I would go inside and get a beer and eat some chips and eat some hot sauce. And I opened the refrigerator door, and I saw a block of cream cheese there, in the silver wrapper. Well, I love cream cheese. I took it out, opened it up, took one of those chips and dipped into it and ate it. And oh, God. I mean, it tasted awful. But I'd had several beers. That didn't stop me.
Yeah, you had to eat some more.
I said, it's like, smell this. Smell it again, yeah. So I tasted it again.
Stinks.
I said, how can this Philadelphia cream cheese be this bad? So I dipped a chip in there, got some on there, and dipped it in the hot sauce. And realized if you put enough hot sauce on it, you could eat instead of just quit eating it.
Yeah.
And then my good friends passed away. George Westbrook walks into the trailer about time to get him a beer, and he looks at me. He says, "What in the world are you doing?" I said, "Well, I'm trying to eat this Philadelphia cream cheese, but it tastes awful." He said, "You idiot! That's Crisco." It was a 1-pound block of Crisco wrapped in the same silver thing that Philadelphia cream cheese is. And I was eating. Now, the next day in the duck blind, I had a problem. I forgot about that.
Ooh, Lord.
Oh, thank you, Michael. Hook it up and track it down 11:30, the Tiger.
If you're looking for some great outdoor hunting tips, check out our new website at HUTDshow.com, loaded with video tips that's sure to make you a better hunter. This segment is presented by Nichols Department Stores, Kamagatsu Hooks, Spro Lures, and K2 Coolers. Durable, heavy-duty, and lightweight coolers with real value that keeps items real cold at a price that's real easy on the wallet. One more time, here's four guys that are real serious about the outdoors. Gary McCoy, Steve Graff, and Mike Eccles.
Hey, Jay, you know what? You're doing such a great job. I want to ask you, if you will, can you give us a little information about Saturdays?
Well, I can tell you right now, we're on the air every Saturday morning from 6 to 8 on 11:30 The Tiger. So if you miss anything today, you can get it on Saturday.
Amen.
Tune us in, baby.
Or if you can't really believe you heard what you heard today.
Yeah, I want to hear it again.
Did Eccles really we eat a whole stick of Crisco.
Did those guys really talk about Hershey squirtitis?
Yeah, buddy. Taste of Shreveport getting ready, or the Holy Angels are getting ready for Taste of Shreveport. Do you know the date on that one?
I think it's this weekend. I left the paperwork at
No,
home.
it's not this weekend
It's not
because
this weekend?
no, it can't be because we always cook. Fire department always fries fish for one of the booths, and I haven't heard anything about it.
It's got to be. It's pretty quick because I got a notice. They sent me an email, an actual flyer in the
I
mail.
know who will know. Dave McGrath will know. I'll
And,
find out real quick.
But you definitely want to participate in that because that sounds like a great event.
I don't want to give away all of next week's show, but I find this one really interesting.
Yeah.
High fencing.
Yep.
For wild game, right or wrong.
A little controversy going on in Texas right now.
You know what? It's my land. If I want to farm deer or cows or goats or little pygmies,
whatever,
it ought to be okay. You know, it's
your property.
It's my property.
Yeah.
And those
aren't the animals we're talking about.
Those are, but what are they talking about?
Basically deer.
Sure. Again, those deer were purchased for big bucks.
But here's what's going on in Texas. They're not being purchased, some of them.
Oh, they're just trapping them?
And they're using Texas Parks and Wildlife deer as part of their high fence project.
How are they getting Texas Parks and Wildlife deer?
The deer are already there. They're just fencing them in.
Okay, it's my property.
But
I built a fence.
you don't own the deer, according to these people.
That's right.
Are they fixing to outlaw fencing?
Don't think it's going that far yet. But
no. I mean, because if they're going to outlaw a 10-foot fence, then they better outlaw a 3-foot fence.
Yeah. Well, it's not considered high fencing.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Well, it does if it prohibits the game from getting in and out.
Exactly. That's the whole deal right there.
And most people that do, and I hope we don't run the segment.
No, we're not. We're not.
Most people that do high fence want the deer out. They start building a fence
and pushing
them out.
They don't want those native deer in there.
That's right, because most places, unless they've got such a high population, they're going to fence them in and just say, okay, I've already got my seed deer there.
Right.
But most people want a really high genetic profile deer in there. They don't want the native deer in there.
So tune in next week. We're definitely going to cover that. I want to ask you guys right now. We need some rain.
Oh, dude.
We need rain bad.
We've already got, and this is something that the guys need to remember. If you're headed to the deer camp this weekend, with the youth hunt starting Saturday, there is burn bans right now in Webster Parish.
Yep.
Burn ban just issued in DeSoto Parish, and it won't be long. There will be burn bans in Bossier and Caddo. I did see, however, yesterday, and I thought they must know something I don't know. They are developing all the land behind Academy, where my brother-in-law, the judge, hunted for so long. They're developing all of that right now. I mean, you can see from I-220 as far north, behind Academy and all that as forever. They've got these big, huge open fires out there burning those big windrows that they pushed up. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, and the wind yesterday was just howling out of the south. Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, man, they're asking for a problem with those embers as they're blowing up north towards that timber and the dry grass and the subdivisions, the amount of stuff that's up there.
It wouldn't take nothing to ignite it.
I would not have an open flame right now. I don't think that's advisable.
But you act like it's a shock or a big deal. October's the driest month of the year in our area. September is almost as dry. So I mean, we're right where we are every year, and we didn't have any burn bans in June, July, and August like a lot of times we do because we had a lot of rain.
Yeah. Right.
So they say we're still behind on normal, but I don't see how that can be.
We're 3 to 4 inches behind.
Well, I screwed up. I planted 2 weeks ago, so it's my fault.
You're the reason why.
I'm the reason.
Well, I planted but the little disc that we were going to use didn't work, so we drug with a piece of cyclone fence, and it didn't work real well.
Yeah.
And my food plot, I've got oats this high, but they were right down. My food plot looked like a mohawk. It was growing right down the middle of it, and dirt on each side. But what surprised me is why that what did get covered, why it generated and grew, is because we were still having heavy dews in the morning.
And there was a heavy dew this morning with it being as cool as it was.
And that's helping the people that planted. I planted early too. So
as a duck hunter, Mike, right now, of course, you probably should definitely be having your blind brushed or in the process of brushing right now, right?
No.
Should that already been done?
No.
It's too early.
Too early.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
So if you brush it now, do you want that brush to match the environment later, or are you trying to match the environment presently?
Okay. Here's the thinking, and then I'll tell you, it really doesn't matter. Okay. It doesn't, because what you want to do is you want to go out there and you want to put your brush on the blind while the cypress leaves are still green.
Okay.
And you want your blind to be green. As the cypress trees start turning colors, start turning orange and brown, then you want the stuff on your blind to be dying.
Transition
to match
at the
it
same
too.
Gotcha.
So if you put it out there right now, leaves are still green on the cypress trees, and in just a matter of a week, your blind's going to be, the leaves are going to be dead.
Right.
So, but does it really matter? No, because some of the best duck hunters I know brush their blinds with pine tops. I would not do that for anything in the world. But
what's the theory on that?
The only person that I've ever had explain it to me is Dustin Haggart, which I'm going to put up in one of the top waterfowl hunters in our area, Dustin Haggart. He told me that the pine limbs stayed bulky, poofed up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And it gives your blind more of a three-dimensional look than just packed down square.
Yeah.
That's the reason he likes it. And he brushes his blind out in the middle of the lake with pine tops.
Wow.
And he kills as many or more ducks than anybody I know. So, but I just can't bring myself to go cut down a bunch
Bill
of
Rasmussen always brushed his blind on the river with pine tops.
And Bill killed a lot of ducks down there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, when you're doing this, you've always said that you use myrtle.
Wax myrtle.
Wax myrtle's on yours. When you're at, have you got places that you find that, or is that something that you can find, pretty well
wax
anywhere?
Myrtle is an ornamental bush, and it's it grows on the edge of stuff, on the edge of right of ways and roads. It doesn't grow back in the timber, and it's a bush, and its stuff grows. Had one place down the road that was had a bunch of it, and all the sweet gums and stuff grew up over it, and in the last
Choked
2 years it's gone.
Wow.
So I've got places that I go cut it. So I've got some places I have to wait till after dark, to go cut it. So
when you first show up at the duck blind, first trip in, are you more concerned about the wasps or the snakes in there?
I've never found a snake in my duck blind.
Really?
I found a snake in a pit blind in Arkansas.
Yeah.
But never found it. No. I'm more worried wasp, number one, buzzards getting in there and having the Hershey squirtitis.
Yeah.
I've had to do that. I've had to go in with a gallon of bleach and water before and clean the inside of the blind up before you can stay in it.
Really?
Yeah, buzzards are bad.
One thing that I want to tell and I'm
beavers and nutras getting up on your blind and getting your fresh brush will also happen.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yep.
Huh.
Is there a fellowship between duck hunters? I mean, do y'all kind of honor each other as far as, no?
It used to be that way.
Okay.
It used to be that way.
Is it the younger guys? Just like with the fishing world, is it the younger guys? You got to lay blame.
Well,
I mean, if somebody's hitting over the foul line,
had an incident.
Is it all in all likelihood going to be somebody under 30?
Yes, but I'm not going to say it's because they're under 30. Those are the ones that are just now starting to hunt and looking for a place to hunt, and
don't know.
We'll crowd it. Yeah.
Rule of thumb: how far from another duck blind?
300 yards.
300 yards.
Yeah.
As long as you're 300 yards, then you're okay.
Yep.
And you need to look 300 yards in every direction.
Right.
Okay. Good stuff. We are hooking up and tracking down 11:30 the Tiger. Get us out of here, Graphic.
All right, here's this week's final word. I've always wondered which is worse, missing a trophy bucket 30 yards or the ribbing you're going to take when you get back to the camp. Both are bad, but nothing is worse than facing your buddies and having to explain why you missed. But for anyone who has ever hunted bucks, ducks, squirrels, or quail, you're going to miss at some point. But there's really only one way to handle it. Sometimes you just have to laugh at yourself. For Mike Eccles, Gary McCoy, Jay Wiley, and yours truly, Steve Graff, thanks for listening. Tune in next week right here on 11:30 The Tiger for more Hooking Up and Tracking Down.